Greetings, MelVee family and colleagues, wherever I find you. You know, there are times you would wish time would just pause and wait and tarry a little bit longer. My mind goes back to last year, the 2nd of November, when I received the most terrible news of the death of an elder, a colleague, an uncle to my family, and someone who had grown to be so close to MelVee, Elder Noel Masosere. Some of you may have followed the ministry that he did in his last days here on MelVee, where we'd recorded we were planning to go up to about 4 series of recordings. We started with the everlasting gospel, yes, and then we came to the righteousness of God. We were going to go to prophecy and thematic areas of the Bible, but that never will be. I remember on the day we last met and we were doing recordings for episode 4 to 7, which is the last episodes of the righteousness of God. We got to episode 4, and when we recorded 2 episodes, 4 and 5, he kept saying, Bamnin, let's go back. Let's do a little bit more on this theme that we were calling It Is Finished. And he kept saying, this is it. We're really finishing this one and we want to spend more time on it. And by episode 7, when we finished it, he says,
Thank you so much. I think we have
pushed the needle in the right direction. You know, in Shona, that means in English, this is not the work of man, but the work of God. There are a few statements that came through my mind as I was editing the last episodes we did, and the providence God had given us to record those 4 before he left. We were meant to end at 5, but when he missed his flight, the following morning he called me, he came back, we did 6 and 7. So 6 and 7 has been providential in terms of what God enabled us to do, because he came back to studio to do those particular ones, and we continued. I remember him saying, let's continue with that thing and finish this thing before we move on to the last 5. And I think offset, he kept saying, oh, this was beautiful, this was good. Tafamba, meaning we've gone very far, and I think this is it. But few statements that still linger in my head a year after the man of God has rested. I don't forget what he said to me when he arrived back from the US. He was in Cape Town, and he says to me, Bamnini, which is my young brother, there's something I want you and I to do, and we need to do it urgently, because hatina nguva, meaning we don't have a lot of time. It was at the peak of lockdowns. He had just gotten a window to come back from the US and be in Africa, and he insisted that he wants to do this urgently. He didn't have a budget for it, but he was loaded with information he wants to teach. And he said to me, these would perhaps be the signature teachings of his ministry. I didn't understand what it meant, but now I do, that he's gone. There's no better message than to preach the everlasting gospel. There's no better message than to live the message of righteousness of God. So hatina nguva, we don't have time. I don't know where you think you have time, my friends. This man, I feel his life was cut short by the accident he went through. I lost him, and we all lost him at a time we never expected to lose him. And so sitting here, a year after his death, I want to appeal to someone out there and to myself. You don't have all the time. Tomorrow is not promised. If God has given you today, do everything you can so that when you are gone, we will not regret that you've gone. Some of the things you guys postpone doing, you will regret one day. Because time as we have it can never be reversed. I wish God could tell me on that very day we were finishing episode 7 that this is the last one. If you don't record another one, you won't have him again. But I thought there would be another time. We thought he would come back to Johannesburg or Pretoria. It never happened. Atina nguva ixesha asinalo isikhathi asikho bafowethu. Do whatever you can right now. Don't postpone what God impresses you and what you need to do. So it was just a phone call of him coming back. The next thing, he was in Johannesburg. The next thing, here he was at our studio house. He's ready. And I said, no, you're not going to preach on this one. You've preached all your sermons. This one, sit down. Let's talk. So I've pinned a few videos below that you can watch of some of the work we did with him. This was just less than 12 months that God enabled us, because from about the beginning of the year 2021 until the time he rested, I would say until the 18th of October, we recorded over 19 videos with him. So he would be up and down to the studio to record. The message therefore is clear, my friends. As I remember his life and times with MelVee, I decided to do this video because I want to help someone out there who thinks he has time. We don't have time. And as I remember him also reflecting on the year that has just passed, who would not remember our brother Sipho Kaleni? Who would forget Pastor Chekerwa? I could go on and list all of the people I have personally lost in this year. People who were so close to our ministry and who were giving ideas and inputs and praying for us and helping us to become what we are today. They all had great plans to be here today with you, perhaps to celebrate this year's Christmas, but they're not with us. So, you haven't got time to postpone what you have to do for God. You haven't got time to postpone what you have to do for yourself. Get up from that couch, get up from your crying, wipe your tears, pick up that phone, phone somebody, go out and ask and knock and seek. Do whatever you can to make the vision of God alive, because you have an expiry date which unfortunately you don't know. And when that day comes, may you rest without any regrets. God bless you, my friends. I'm hoping this will help you to reflect and be motivated to move on. Get that relationship sorted and move on. Clear whatever is a burden on your shoulders and move on. Thank you, my friends, and God bless you.